Yo, what's up guys, it's Azolai. So I can't really work on my analysis videos because I messed up my hand, and obviously I can't play Halo effectively until my hand heals. So in the meantime, I'm gonna do something different and talk about a topic that I think is interesting, and that topic is the Spartan Charge. So Spartan Charge is perhaps one of the most controversial Spartan abilities in Halo 5. The combination of its damage, range, and speed make it extremely deadly on the battlefield. And because of this, there are players who like the ability and players who absolutely hate it. Now I can't really talk about the reasons why other players like or dislike Spartan Charge because I'm not a mind reader and I would be giving biased information. However, I can discuss my own thoughts about the Spartan Charge ability in its current state. But in order to properly discuss Spartan Charge, let's step back to look at an important characteristic of Halo games. One thing that has made Halo stand out from other FPS games like Battlefield, Call of Duty, and so on is the fact that in Halo the weapon TTKs, or times to kill, are quite long. And this is because Spartans have a health bar and a shield bar that must be taken down in order to get the kill. You cannot just run into an area, spray some bullets, and get quick kills. In Halo, every bullet counts. Take for example the Halo 5 Magnum. It has a time to kill of 1.40 seconds, 4 shots to break the shield plus 1 final shot to the head to get the kill. So the fastest time to kill you can ever get with the Magnum is 1.40 seconds, and that's if you land a perfect 5 shots. If because the target is strafing you miss and it takes you 6 shots, the time to kill will be 1.68 seconds. If you miss 2 and it takes 7 shots, the time to kill will be 1.96 seconds. So almost 2 seconds to kill your enemy. And it's not like your enemy isn't shooting you back, so even if you get a 1 shot, 2 shot, or even a 3 shot lead on your enemy, but then that enemy outstrafes your remaining shots and lands all of his, the next thing you know is you are DEAD dead. Thus, because of long times to kill, Halo games have always been high skill FPS games, and Halo 5 is no different. But don't take this as trash talk to Battlefield, Call of Duty, or whatever, because obviously there's a significant amount of skill involved in playing those games as well. I'm simply making the point that in Halo there's a high amount of skill involved with deciding who wins gunfights because the times to kill are long. And because of this, your enemy also has a fair chance of turning the tide, even if you started shooting them first. Alright, but how does this have anything to do with the Spartan Charge ability? Well, as most of you already know, Spartan Charging another player absolutely destroys their health, and because the damage is so high, the time to kill is very fast. Very different from what I just talked about, long times to kill in Halo combat. The player that was charged only has a small chance of getting out alive because the enemy only needs a few extra bullets to finish them off. I don't know about you guys, but it seems to me that the only way I can recover from a Spartan Charge is if I am fully aware of an incoming Spartan Charge and see the dude coming at me from a mile away to actually get enough shots to kill him. Or if I have a sticky grenade to stick or a power weapon to get the trade. However, awareness of a Spartan Charge, sticky grenades, and power weapons aren't a given. There isn't a voice that says, hey bro, you're about to get wrecked by a Spartan Charge. And we don't spawn with sticky grenades or power weapons. Most of the time, we're just running around with magnums and assault rifles. Thus, countering a Spartan Charge is kind of difficult and can be frustrating. Well, maybe if a noob uses the ability on you, it can be easily countered. But if it's a decent player, then most likely you will die, especially if you are blindsided. But don't take this the wrong way. I'm not saying that countering Spartan Charges should be easy, I'm just saying that the ability itself is problematic at the current state that it is in. And here's where I will probably get instant dislikes on the video, so even after all of these issues that Spartan Charge has, I still kind of like Spartan Charge. Azolai, you rat bastard, how can you like the Spartan Charge? To me, there's something satisfying about physically wrecking an enemy with this ability. It's one of those abilities that really makes me feel like a future super soldier, what Spartans are. So to me, the concept of the Spartan Charge is pretty cool, but that's just my opinion. And even though there are Halo players that agree with me on this, I understand that there are also players that completely disagree, because they just hate Spartan Charge. So we are in this situation where people like Spartan Charge and others dislike Spartan Charge. But what are our options? How do we deal with this Spartan Charge ability? Well, I think we have two options: remove or rebalance the Spartan Charge. So let's briefly talk about option number 1, to remove Spartan Charge from Halo. It's a simple process, it doesn't take much time, and effectively eliminates the ability and the issues associated with it. If this is what the majority of Halo players want, then I am fine with this, even though I personally like the Spartan Charge ability myself. So maybe Spartan Charge should just be removed from future Halos, including Halo 6. So removal of this ability is a simple and straightforward solution to an issue many players have, so there's no reason for me to spend half of this video talking about it in full detail. But what about option number 2? Well, option number 2 deals with rebalancing. Maybe the Spartan Charge ability can be re-examined and modified for a more proper place in Halo's gameplay. So since rebalancing isn't as simple as removing, let's explore this option a little bit further to see what steps could be taken to rebalance the Spartan Charge. Keep in mind that everything I will say is going to be my own thoughts on possible rebalancing options, so they could be good ideas or they could be terrible ideas. Ultimately, you guys will decide. But anyway, let's begin. First up, let's talk about damage. So we know if you Spartan Charge someone, they will take a significant amount of damage. 100% of their shield bar and about 55% of their health bar will be lost. So one thing that could be done to rebalance the Spartan Charge is maybe decrease how much damage it does. Instead of having the current damage where you lose 100% of your shield bar and about 55% of your health bar, what if it was changed so you lost 100% of your shield and only 25% of the health bar? So something like this. Modifying the damage this way would give us more health when targeted by the Spartan Charge, and it would make it more difficult for the player using the ability to kill the target. And because we would have more health with the lower damage setting, it would give us a better chance of flipping the odds and surviving the encounter. Now, I do think that Spartan Charge damage should be higher than melee damage, which only does 100% shield or health bar damage depending on your health level, but I do think that currently Spartan Charge is slightly overpowered. So maybe decreasing the Spartan Charge damage could be one way to rebalance it. Alright, so let's continue. Another thing that could be done is the addition of impact damage. So impact damage is nothing new to Halo, pretty much every Halo game has had it. And the basic concept is if you are launched at a high speed and collide with an object, you will take damage. For the purpose of demonstration, I built a simple impact damage simulator in Forge. When my Spartan gets launched directly into a wall, he receives some impact damage. Even if you crash with a heavily armored vehicle like an Oni Warthog, your Spartan will take impact damage. Even if you boost into a wall with a Wraith, you will take impact damage. So my reason is, what if the Spartan Charge also had impact damage? What if when you Spartan Charge someone, the impact of the collision caused your Spartan to take 50% shield or health bar damage? So if you were at full health and shields and you Spartan Charge someone, the impact of the charge would damage your shields by 50%. This would definitely make people think twice about using the ability to get easy kills. Furthermore, the negative consequence of impact damage would prevent people from abusing the ability because they would know that they themselves would take damage in the process. This would definitely make people think twice about using the ability to get easy kills. However, why stop there? What if when you Spartan Charged a vehicle or an object, you also took impact damage? If a player decided to Spartan Charge a vehicle or a wall, they would get damaged by the collision. Take this for example. Everybody knows shooting a rocket launcher at an object directly by you causes you to take damage or commit suicide, a negative consequence for those that make such a mistake. Impact damage would serve as the negative consequence for Spartan charging. So imagine this was part of Spartan Charge and someone runs out of nowhere and tries to use the ability on you. If they hit you, then you will get damaged, but they themselves will also lose 50% of their shield from the impact. The resulting combat situation will be more fair between the involved players, opposed to heavily favoring the player that used the Spartan Charge like it is right now. And if we threw in the slightly decreased Spartan Charge damage I talked about earlier, I think the changes would make the ability even more balanced. Thus, adding some impact damage could be an additional way that Spartan Charge could be rebalanced. Another way that Spartan Charge could be rebalanced deals with range and aim assist. Right now, one of the reasons I think Spartan Charge is problematic is due to its range and aim assist. You can basically charge at someone from around 10 meters away. This is about 2.06 times as far as the standard melee attack, which is about 4.85 meters. So to illustrate why this is an issue, let's look at a scenario. So here I chase down an enemy player and Spartan charge him from the back. However, even though I got the kill, I think it's kind of dumb that I was able to charge him from such a far distance. And if we go into theater mode and look at the distance between the enemy player and myself when the Spartan charge activated, we see that it is quite big. So maybe another way to rebalance Spartan charge is to slightly decrease its range. Maybe instead of around 10 meters range, it can be reduced to something between 6 and 8 meters. Doing this would make it more of a close quarters Spartan ability rather than a super attack. So in essence, a slight improvement and upgrade to the melee attack instead of something overpowered. And with the decrease of Spartan Charge range, aim assist could also be decreased or removed. As most of you already know, aim assist is basically how strongly your reticle is pulled or magnetized towards your enemy when you aim at them. Now this is more of an option 343 Industries could explore since they have the tools to test aim assist more properly. However, my reasoning for decreasing aim assist is quite simple. It would make Spartan Charge require more skill to use since the player would have to do the majority of the aiming instead of being helped by aim assist. Think of it this way. Imagine if the Banshee's flips and rolls had strong aim assist when in range to splatter an enemy. Imagine how overpowered and broken that would be. You would literally just fly by someone, flip in their direction, and get easy kills. However, Banshee's flips don't have this aim assist, and it requires proper timing and aiming to splatter enemies. Thus, if aim assist was decreased for Spartan Charge, players would also have to rely on proper timing and aiming to effectively use it. Alright, so far I talked about decreasing damage, adding impact damage, and decreasing range and aim assist. But what else could be done to rebalance this ability? Well, the final thing that I will talk about deals with the thruster pack and a possible cooldown for the Spartan Charge. So the reason why Spartans can thrust evade and do Spartan charges is because they have a thruster pack that allows them to quickly boost in any direction. So the way this works is the thruster pack has 2 tanks of compressed triaminohydrazine gas to use as fuel, but this gas is very volatile and explosive. So there needs to be a proper cooldown to prevent overheating and avoid explosions. In the case of the thrust evade, there will be a cooldown period of about 4 seconds after each use. However, if you use the Spartan Charge, there is no cooldown time, which doesn't make any sense since the ability uses the same thruster pack and fuel as the thrust evade to boost forward. Even if you use the thrust evade and are in the cooldown period, you will still be able to use the Spartan Charge, which to me is kind of strange. Wouldn't it make more sense if you activate the thrust evade and are in the 4-second cooldown period, then you can't activate the Spartan Charge for 4 seconds as well? I don't know, to me that would just make more sense. But yeah, so let's look at this in more detail. If you activate the thrust evade, there will be 4 jets of triaminohydrazine combusting to launch you in the direction of your choice. 1 jet coming out of a thruster exhaust at the top and 1 jet coming out of the bottom where each of the 2 triaminohydrazine tanks are located. But remember how triaminohydrazine is very volatile and explosive? So maybe because the thrust evade activates and uses a total of 4 thrusters, this is more stable and doesn't put much stress on the thruster pack. Kind of like how the 4 jets on the stabilization jet's weapon attachment function to counter weapon recoil. Therefore, after thrust evading, the critical cooldown time is just 4 seconds long before you can thrust evade again, which makes sense and works out well for balancing purposes. Now if we look at the thruster pack when the Spartan Charge is used, we see that there are only 2 thrusters being used to boost forward. So how can we make sense of this? Well, maybe because the Spartan Charge requires a lot of force to damage an enemy, it channels triaminohydrazine only towards the upper thrusters of the thruster pack. Channeling a large amount of triaminohydrazine into 2 thrusters would be focused on achieving a large acceleration rather than a more stable boost created by the 4 jets of the thrust evade. And since we know that force is just mass times acceleration, so F equals ma, and our Spartan's mass remains unchanged, then the larger the acceleration, the larger the force. Thus, what if because the Spartan charge only uses the upper two thrusters to achieve a large acceleration, it puts the thruster pack at an extremely critical level where it requires a 5 or 6 second cooldown before it's safe and ready to use again? And what if during the cooldown the thrust evade can't be used as well? Adding a cooldown time and pairing Spartan charge and thrust evade cooldowns would make players think twice about using the Spartan charge, since the consequence would be that they also would not be able to activate the thrust evade. This would create a type of complementary balance with the thrust evade and Spartan charge. If you use one ability, you will also be blocked from using the other ability during the cooldown period. As a result, this would prevent players from overusing and abusing these abilities. Players would have to weigh their options intelligently to determine what benefits and consequences each ability offers for their combat situation. Well, that's basically it. These are my own thoughts about what can be done with Spartan Charge. The ability can either be removed or rebalanced for future Halo games. If it's removed, then it's gone for good. If it's rebalanced, then decreasing damage, adding impact damage, decreasing range and aim assist, and adding a cooldown are some of the ways I think Spartan Charge can be modified properly. Keep in mind again that these are my own thoughts on the subject, so just because Azolai says it, it does not mean that it's automatically the best solution. However, I do think that the way something is implemented makes the difference between whether people like it or dislike it. Right now, I think Spartan Charge is implemented poorly, thus even though there are players that favor it and want it to stay, there are many players that hate it and want it removed. Personally, I like the ability, but I do believe it needs to be rebalanced if it is to remain in Halo going forward. Anyway, these are my thoughts on Spartan Charge, and I plan on making similar videos for other Spartan abilities like Sprint, Ground Pound, and so on, because even though I prefer modern Halo mechanics versus classic mechanics, I think the modern Halo mechanics could be rebalanced a little bit better, but that will be in the distant future. But the reason why I'm doing this is because I want to share my thoughts with other Halo players and fans on different topics as they relate to Halo games. And in addition to this, I want to know what you guys think. There's about 10,000 of you who consistently watch my videos when I upload them, so it would be interesting to see what your thoughts are on Spartan Charge and other Spartan abilities like Sprint. So use the comments section to share your opinions and engage in discussions. Do you think Spartan Charge should be removed or rebalanced? Do you agree or disagree with the rebalancing options I discussed in this video? Do you have other cool ideas to rebalance the Spartan Charge? Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Well, that's it for this one, so thank you for watching, and until next time.